Good day, everyone. It's Rhonda from Spirit Sessions of View of the Light, and we are bringing you a previously recorded session because our sister, Teresa Warren, has manifested herself a trip to Mount Shasta this week. So we are bringing her guest, Shekinah, in to see you early. Sort of, we were recording this previously, so Teresa can be a part of this interview. And we are so happy that she could manifest this for herself, and if she can do it, you can do whatever you like too. She's proof that you can manifest. So Teresa, take it away and please introduce our guest and where you met her.
All right, you guys, I'm so excited about this because if you know me, I get totally excited about people and especially wise people. And Shekinah here is such a wise woman embodied in the soul that we're going to be looking at. I could sit there and tap her wisdom for like years. And so I'm so excited. I met her on the Pork and Beans show, which you guys will be hearing more about that soon because I'm stealing a couple of guests of theirs and then we'll bring them on too, just to be fair. And so we met on the Pork and Beans show and I was listening to her and oh my God, Shekinah, you are so amazing and you even have a book and stuff. There's just so much I want to know about you. Can you tell me first off, just to, get to know each other a bit, what was your awakening journey like? How did you know that taking this path was for you?
Hmm. Beautiful question. Always the origins, right? The foundation of the journey. So I grew up in California. I grew up in the ocean. I was a mermaid always knew it, never denied it, never really had a discrepancy with that. More had an issue being human, I'm not going to lie. I really struggled as a child, had early suicidal issues, early
Me too.
depression. It was kind of like when you're looking out into the world and you're like seeing it, like X-ray vision, right? Where you're like, I see right through all of this charade. And whether, you could say I was raised Christian by a priest. I had my godfather was a priest. He started many different Christian private schools. I went to all those schools. So I had a deep, rich spiritual upbringing. And that was kind of more in that Gnostic, kind of old, like beautiful, sort of visionary Christos magic. So thankfully, I had that kind of as a backbone. But growing up, just wanting to dive deep like a mermaid does, right? Wanting to explore the under, what's up here in the surface as you come out of the water, you see life. But if you really want to get to the roots, you have to go down deep, right? And you have to dive deep into the subconscious or unconscious mind to get to sort of why, like the causal realm. So because I had that early suicide and homesickness and
Yes.
empathy and psychic awareness and all of those, what I thought were curses at the time, now are of course the blessings. But it prompted me, it called for me to explore. And because I had that depression, a lot of it was inner rather than outer. So yeah, I guess that's kind of how I got going. I never had a separation. I never had a get woke. It was always woke. It was always just like I'm not separate, right? So I am everything. That was to me a bit of an issue. It hurt. It didn't feel good. I tried to numb that pain. Of course, we have our different ways, whether it's substances or sexual relations, etc. But yeah, I really came around full circle. Hence, doing all this spiritual training with beautiful teachers, writing this book now, using those curses to become blessings, right? So that's been my path of alchemy, taking the shit, making it fertilizer, and taking the lead and making it gold. So that's what I like to share. That's where I'm at.
I love that.
I did. I love that too. I mean, there's so many similarities. I too grew up in California, and I too was so very suicidal until the spirituality started coming up into my life, and then
Mhm.
everything started to fall into place. It still took a
Mhm.
while. These
Mhm.
ladies here with us has helped us, and then
Mhm.
me, I'm the dragon. We got Rhonda's the
Mhm.
unicorn, and we got Bex,
Mhm.
who's also
Beautiful.
a mermaid, and so it's exciting.
Beautiful.
Do you have any past life memories of what the
Mhm.
mermaid culture was like?
Oh, for sure. And it was such a hard thing to be able to take this reality as our third dimensional construct as reality. Because for me, I was like, wow, this is an illusion. And previous like Lemurian, Atlantean, Pangea, all these ancient worlds and timelines were to me reality. So we fell from grace. As I understand, we existed in these higher spheres, higher frequencies, higher vibrational realms. And that's the fall from grace, is to fall down into these third dimensional realms. So my past life memories, as I was swimming in the ocean as a child, was seeking and searching for those lost temples and ancient civilizations. I kept trying to go down deeper and deeper, exploring farther and farther, and holding my breath and believing I could breathe underwater and, trying to play with that, all sorts of fun things. But I met Stumbo few years ago. Stumbo is my Sasquatch friend. I don't know if you know him. He's the man who wrote, well, I have like all his books he gave me. Sasquatch Message to Humanity is still one of my piles of books. I live like a wizard. I have all these piles of books everywhere. Anyway, and so we had this instant sort of remembering of when Sasquatch and Merfolk worked together, and they helped us to find our feet on land when we got genetically modified and became in these hybridized humanoid forms. But my memory always served of us living in the temples and living in these phosphorescent worlds of illuminescence and, just having that freedom and that deep bliss, because we lived in harmony and we lived in the law of oneness. So we were aware of our interconnectivity, and instead of being a sacrificial, I guess, demographic of beings, we were an offering based. So we made offerings, not sacrifices. And that would be really one of the main characters that's going to identify the fall. We fell, and that's when the offerings became blood sacrifice. But that is not our way. I don't even eat meat. I lived, in my past life on algae. You could literally live on algae, and that gives you the most amazing serotonin and just core inner vitality. So it's really hard to eat the food nowadays for me. I go around and I eat leaves and berries out of my garden. Like, I don't have a way to eat this processed packaged food. So it's a very strange thing. But if you notice, humans, when we're born, I've had two daughters, you have these like gills,
Oh yeah.
because we actually are all from the ocean, as they say, all life comes from the ocean. So we have these, all of us, inner merfolk qualities. We breathe through our gills as a baby in the womb. So if you just never came out of the womb, you would be a mermaid. You'd be in that bliss of your mama, of the Maya, So that, to me, like, once we came out of the womb, was kind of also another fall. And I am working through that as far as healing, how we can embody these physical third dimensional bodies. But, a lot of us are homesick and we want to go back to mama.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
That's totally
Beautiful.
fascinating. Totally.
Yeah.
So, what excited me when I met you is that you've had so much experience with ISIS. Can you tell me how you came to work with
Mhm.
ISIS?
Absolutely. So I dropped out of college. I went to in San Diego massage and healing school, and I worked at a health food store. I lived in Laguna Beach, so I would travel from Laguna Beach to San Diego and then also LA, because I met a woman in LA who Kathleen Francis. She was with the Lighted Way Fellowship, and their direct teacher was Muriel Isis. She passed away. I got to meet her just for a little bit before she passed away, but she was kind of the matriarch. And then in this Egyptian mystery school, we learned about, tarot, numerology, astrology, the Lighted Way meditations. When behind me I have Isis that way.
Yeah.
And so she would turn into her bird form, and we would do rituals and ceremonies and meditations and all these different practices and teachings. To what she would do, she would turn into her bird form, and she would fly around her initiate on the altar, and then she would help you to burn away the dross as you had the spiritual fire you were placed into. And this was all like a ritual. So she'll be flying around you to hold that ritual in
Wow.
place. And you would burn away all the dross and all your karmas and all that illusion from you so that you could, like, as Jesus, Yeshua said, you must be born once the flesh and then twice the spirit. So she would help you to be that born into spiritual revelation, realization. And so that's what we would do is we would, journey through these clearings and awakening, and also activate, that Merkaba, and bring ourselves into the teachings of the ancient mystery schools of Egypt. So that was like I was 19, and I just loved it. I would go there as much as possible, spend my weekdays in massage school, spend my weekends in mystery school, and just, delve deep as far as I could go into remembering, because that's what it's about. We all have this in us. It's not about learning, it's about remembering.
Yeah.
Uh, the stuff we have nowadays is mostly kind of egoic. We're going to have a lot of astral and a lot of egoic issues when we have different teachers and stuff. And I think we saw that in our Sasquatch community recently, with some of the trauma there. So I'd say, like, we really want to not necessarily go out, but go in. The way out is in, and remembering. And then once we can reactivate that inner knowing, our Akash, and also our original blueprint, then we can go out, and it's going to be like harmony, because we'll be coming out as awoke masters, rather than indentured servants or slaves or, needy, very dependent. We don't want any of those archetypes. No victims, no none of that. We want
Become
to
our own gurus.
sovereign and independent. And as
Yes.
I'm a whole, holy, complete person, you're a whole, holy, complete person. And now we can meet equals. And that's beautiful. That's what we're meant to do.
Yes.
There
Yeah.
is such a beauty. There's so much beauty going
Oh,
around. The
absolutely.
synchronicities and the
Yeah.
layers. I can't stop being amazed. But another thing that I'm curious about is what is your personal daily practice like? Can you give us just a little run in, like I meditate this long or what? Or, what's your daily practice like?
Well, I don't believe in having a practice like in
Okay.
a regime, because every single minute, every single breath, like we're in a continuum. So to like take this time and make it your practice is gonna denounce or denote, like demote all the other parts
Right.
of our day. So to me, it's every breath, every moment, everything's a meditation. Walking in a
Nice.
meditation. So, but I
Okay.
do wake up and I try to just, not get called out right away from that dream time, because that's a very deep, deep, like you're in between and betwixt. So you want to try to linger in that as much as possible, just to fully bring in that energy of the messages and the dreams. Dwell in that for as long as possible. And one thing I do that always a ritual is to go out. I have a sacred spot, a magic place. I live in the beautiful British Columbia here in Canada. So I have like my own 13 acres of forest, and I can go just a little bit over from my land to beautiful Give Out Creek, it's called. So I give out my love and I give out my prayers,
Oh,
and
Okay.
like be by the water. I'm a fish out of water, so I need to be by water. And then there I call them, I do it a little different, but the West, I start in the West. And the Mer people taught me this. They told me I needed to start in the West because we're conceived in water. So we're
Okay.
conceived in the West. We're conceived in the water. And that's where we gestate and we're in the womb. So I always start my direction calling in the West with the water. Water is life, mini wachoni. So I start in that realm, and that's where the elves, that's where Galadriel and all the elves were, they were the Western land. So I always want to go there first. And I'm always like, where's my kid? So we start there and then we go to the south, which is the place where we're out, we're coming into that spark. So it's like we're moving from the water, that spark of light is, the 120th day of our conception is when your soul comes into the womb on that 120th day mark. And so that's the spark and that's the phoenix, the fire. And then we move to the east, and that's our air, that's our first breath of life. Come out of the womb, first breath of life, that's the east. And those I see as the angels, the winged people. So I'm calling in the elementals because we need to work with the elementals. That's how we put out the fire. So you're working with the elementals. East is the angels and the winged ones, the bird tribe, the fairies. And then north is the earth. So that's the Sasquatch, that's the unicorns, that's the gnomes. So I'm communing with all these intelligences. I call them the wise ones. So we want to commune with the wise ones. We want to open that invitation for them to come be with us in our day, right? And to walk with them as our guides and guardians. And then as below are the dragons, and as above are the star nations, our star nation brothers and sisters. So when you put yourself in a hologram of the wise ones, then your day is always good, right? Always good.
Oh,
Yeah.
it's
Great.
magical. I
I've been
love
Yeah,
doing,
that.
absolutely.
yeah. I've been doing this for so long now that I feel like they're talking to me. I don't even have to call them. They're like, oh, this is a direct line. This lady's a direct line. So they're just there.
I love
Yeah.
that so much.
So
Yeah,
you
that
got
just
it.
feels so powerful.
I
Go ahead,
got lots
Rhonda.
of energy off that.
Mhm.
So you had a message today. Did you want to share that message with us that you
Sure.
received today?
That was like the little the merfolk were like, okay, take them into this experience because we could talk all day or we could drop in and actually experience. So what we'll do is just how
Oh,
about we
great.
close our eyes. I always do this with my hands because that activates your aura. So in Kundalini Yoga, we clap and rub briskly, and that actually causes your aura to grow about 10 times as big. So we want to be at full moon, and so we're a full auric field of light. And we breathe in long and deep and just inhale that light. Light is information, information is light. That's all that this ever is, was, and will ever be is light. Even in the darkest places, there's photonic light. It's impossible to have darkness. Actually, it's just your perception. Science has proven there is no dark matter. So we're just breathing in the light, illuminating any place that has shadow, exhaling, releasing all that shadow so that we are just fully illuminated. And I like to breathe right into my heart chakra because that's where we want to fan the flame. Imagine that sacred flame in the heart chakra. And as we breathe, we're fanning that beautiful flame, which I see as a violet flame, beautiful violet flame. And as we still and center and bring ourselves into this warmth, this crystalline substance that is our blood, much like the salty sea, the ocean, we dive in with our consciousness, with our awareness. We dive into the body, the ocean of our temple. Our body is majority water. So our body is literally a body, like an ocean. And we're going to dive into our body, into our temple, into this beautiful being that we have, that we're blessed with, that we walk around with. And as we dive deeper and deeper into our own self, into our own selves, we bring back all of our energies that may have been scattered outside of us. And so we just keep gathering in our breath, in our inhalation, gathering our energy, our soul, possibly the fragments of our soul, gathering them into our breath and bringing them back where they belong. Even if this is, past lives or trauma where we've left parts of ourselves behind, or perhaps there are thoughts or conditioned beliefs. We're just gathering that back through our breath, inhaling back all of our power, and that's diving it right deep into our heart so that it can flood through the sacred drum of our heart to every bit of our bodies, from our toes to our crown, bringing back our power, bringing back our remembering as we collect ourselves from past lovers, past life, past traumas, even just in the news and in the media. We want to bring back all of our consciousness instead of projecting, but receive it all back in the here and now. The merfolk saying, dive into the ocean of your emotion. Feel yourself and your truth. The truth. Know thyself. The water is the place of receptivity, of conductivity. It is the mirror magic. And as we know, with the water, we can program our water. We can charge, we can bless our water with our intention. So if that's for healing or for forgiveness or for a need, financial prosperity, a new job, a new home, a new lover, we want to bring all our energy into our ocean of emotion so that we can charge ourselves with what we want rather than what we don't want. And what we don't want is what's manifesting when we're lost and scattered to the wind. So we're recollecting so that we can reprogram. And the merfolk wants you to take your power back. They want you to reprogram your crystalline grid and to focus on that half full chalice rather than that half empty chalice. We're coming through that old paradigm consciousness now, and we're rising back full circle up to love where we belong. Full circle. We're ascending from the fall. So in order to ascend, we're just gathering ourselves back, putting our hands over our heart and feeling our light back within us, our souls back within us, back into the here and now, back into this body of flesh and bone, and charging it with what we want, letting go of all that we don't want. That's washed away. Salty ocean water washes away. It's saline, sterile. Just like your body is made of salt water, saline and sterile. We are cleansed. And now we begin to create heaven on earth. This is the time we are here to create heaven on earth. And that is what all the elementals want you to know now. Whether you're working with the water, or you're working with the earth, or the air, or the fire, or the star nations, or the dragons, they're all here now to create heaven and earth because the knowledge of good and evil is up. We're moving back now to that Edenic Garden of Eden state. And it's graduation time. It's mastery time. We're graduating. So celebrate, the wise ones say. Celebrate. Yea, though you walk through the valley of the shadow and death, you shall fear no evil, because you are the way, the truth, and the life. Light, love, sacred all. This is what is real. And you can always return back. Whenever you feel lost and scattered and confused and disoriented, that is your signal to come all back. Dive within the ocean of your body. All the answers are here. And all the merfolk are out just kind of like a baptism. I'm seeing a like christening or a baptism. And so I see them just blessing each and every one of us with just so much little watery, little, when you have the little water drops fall off your fingertips. And they're just blessing us with this holy, holy, almost like a a star water, star water that's like a vaccination that you'll never have. The holy water of the star water is like gonna bless us with a whole new body of light, coronating us. Ah, that is very good. So just receive that blessing. It's going to just wash you clean and clear of all your karma and all of your lessons and help you ascend into 5D. Aho, Mitakiyasu. Thank you, angels. Thank you, Merfolk. Thank you, wise one. Hmm. Hmm. I never want to open my eyes after I go here. It's like, nope, I don't want to go back. I'm quite happy here, but I don't want to take all your day. So,
Thank you. That was just
go
so
back
That was
out.
awesome.
amazing.
That
Mm.
was so awesome. I could
That
I
And I
could
was
feel
so
that
needed that.
rainwater.
Yeah, I could too.
Mm.
Right before you said it, I saw their hands dripping the water over me, and it was just like, and then you said it, and I was like, okay, like it
It's
was very,
real.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
I feel
Yeah.
it right on. Yeah, it was weird. Yeah, it's
I
great.
just wanted to like bathe and like you want to dive in. I mean, some people put their toes in the water and they're very hesitant. They're just like, testing out the water. But let me just tell you, the water is warm. Okay,
Mhm.
it's warm. There's no sharks. The sharks are your friends. They're not here to bite and eat you. Yeah, we have a family. We're a family. You don't have to look at people as strangers. We're all one. There's nothing to fear except fear itself, right? So to me, I'm just like, let's dive in. Let's swim and play like dolphins and porpoise. Yeah.
so
That's
perfect.
so.
I love that. I really tried hard to have a mermaid experience with the where I went. Okay, instead of the beautiful, there was this mantis being. Now,
Nice.
I've met this a long, long time ago, about 25, 28 years ago, and it was small like this, and I thought it was a fairy, and she was
Mm,
like this, and she had a knitting ball,
mm,
like if you're knitting, and she was making a web with it, and so I could never figure out what she was or anything about her. But right now, today, she was
mm,
there again. She was there like this working, and I think, can I hear her words? No, but I was, at
mm.
least I was connecting with her. So So I went to a mantis, not underwater. So sorry, guys.
But it's all one. In the law of oneness, it's all
So
one.
cool.
It's your, you can go wherever you're meant to go. It's still the same place that you're meant to go. But the mantis work on like our genetics. Like so, they're fine tuning your meridians. So the webs could be your meridians. You know, like we have these beautiful rivers of light called the meridians, and they do. They'll release things stuck in the nadis. So that's really good to do the tapping because that's flushing out the old
Okay.
programming and the old conditioning and all that old
Very cool.
yucky stuff, right? And then the mantis are like weaving in gold. They're in like a qigong. We have the golden mantis, and so we're
Oh.
working like in this very like realm of coming in and seeing into how everything's connected. Very
So
good
cool.
medicine.
Wow, very
That
cool.
that is really
You're still
interesting.
diving deep, T, even with the mantis.
Yes, yeah. Who knew?
We're all meant to work with who we're meant to work with, right? And that can change at any time.
Yeah, at the right timing.
Hmm
It
So,
all
hmm
makes sense. Man, it's too
And they could
cool.
be preparing you for Shasta.
Yeah.
Like they'll start working on you before you go to a certain PowerPoint. So continue working. Like just allow it to continue. It's probably initiating you already into your next level.
Oh, too cool. I'm totally
oh,
emotional.
Yeah, that's awesome. So good.
I can see a show coming up with you from Shasta next, Teresa. Uh, what we want to know now, Shekinah, is you have written a book, and you said it's sold out at some points, but we can get it at Amazon. Tell us about your book. Like,
Yeah,
tell us
that's
about what it's
exciting.
about. That's very exciting. Tell us
Like
about
I
your
said,
book
I've been
and
communicating with the wise ones, and so the wise ones told me I had to write this book. And I'm not necessarily like the best writer, but I can tell you that they wrote that book, and I just did the finger movements on my keyboard. But they were very clear. The Hopi prophecy, I've been studying Native American history. I have Choctaw and Cherokee and Chickasaw blood. Seneca, my family all comes from Oklahoma, so we have a lot of
Oh,
that Oklahoma Trail. It clears meets the land rush, Oklahoma land rush. So very interesting story there. But so they are wanting us to know, like, so the book is called Frequency, the Hour of Power Has Come. And so this is because the hour of power is come. So the Hopi prophecy says that you've been telling people it's the 11th hour. Now you must go back and tell them that this is the hour because, time, Horus is hour, like it's very interesting how you begin to understand Egyptian teachings when you apply them to our English language because it all comes from these root words, etymology. Uh,
wow.
but anyway, so the hour, Horus, the time of awakening resurrection light, is here. So we are moving now into the fifth age of peace, and this is what the whole book is about. It is a sci-fi fantasy. It's kind of fun. There's a group called the Apocalypsos, and
Ah,
the Apocalypsos are like reggae, ska, hip hop music. Their main character is Sophia Starwater, and she is like spoken word. They're fun. They're the rebels, right? And they're going out to kind of like the warriors of the rainbow, uh, fulfilling the prophecy. So that's where we're at. And then we open the portals, and the Sasquatch and the Star Nations and all of our ancestors, they're waiting for us to open the portals, right? And so the only way, the key to open the portals is consciousness. So we have to awaken the locks and unlock and unblock the combination code. So that's what that book's about.
oh,
And how can
neat.
we unlock and unblock the combination codes? Because it's up to all of us. We all want to ascend, right?
Yeah.
And it's all based on frequency, as Nikola Tesla said, right? Think in terms of the universe, think in terms of frequency, energy, and vibration. So when we're vibrating at those 5D frequencies, that's unlocking and unblocking the combination code to quarantine, right? So we want to get out of this quarantined planet an
Yes.
illusion, and return home to our beloved. It is time. Yeah,
Absolutely. Wow.
Oh, I
That
got
sounds like an
chills.
amazing book. Absolutely.
it's a
So
trip.
Yes.
yeah, so
Yeah.
we'll get the link from you and make sure it's in the description in the video so people can go
Yes.
to Amazon and pick it up
I want to
or
read that
Audible or
Right.
book.
wherever. Yeah, and
I
grab
love
it.
Yeah,
that.
a lot of it is messages from the wise ones. Like the whole first part is like messages from Sasquatch, messages from Dragon, and the Fae, and a little tidbits of little things people can work with because we need the medicine. Not just like I've studied animal totems for like ever, right? Like got the animal cards,
Oh,
and
yeah, I got
stuff
those
with,
ones. Oh, cool.
and so I picked Turtle Mother, it's like
Oh,
Earth Mama. This is all about the moons, the 13 moons on the turtle's back is the Mayan calendar. That can get into a
Right.
whole other story. But yeah, but now it's not just our animals, it's our Sasquatch and our Fae and our, all the beings that we've been, separated from. It's time to call them all back.
yes.
That's
Yeah,
how we're
for
going to
sure.
ascend. They're the ascension guides.
Yes.
Oh,
Ooh,
exciting.
I love it.
Yeah.
So Bex has a
Fun.
question for you too.
We didn't prepare her.
Oh, it's okay. I don't think she needs preparing.
I
Okay.
Um,
typed it in there, I think.
Okay. So we ask our guests every episode now to give our viewers a little more intimate, look into our guests. If you had to choose a song to be the theme song of your life, what would it be?
oh, right. I answered this. That was easy. Just
Awesome.
FYI, everything is a theme song. I mean,
Mhm.
like, my friends are like, dude, stop it. Like, everything becomes a theme song for me. But the main one, because my first movie that I really fell in love with when I was a young person was Legend, old school, Tom Cruise, Unicorns. And
Uh,
so the song is, I think it's by Tangerine, and it's I've seen the Mystics play there once or twice when I knew they had a reason. Enchantment plays its part on us. It's the Legend song. I think I sent it to you guys, right?
yeah, I
Loved
watched
by
it.
the
Yeah.
Sun.
Yeah,
Loved
well,
by the Sun. That's
I'll
the name.
have
Yeah,
to stick it in the
Very
comments.
cool.
perfect
Yeah.
song. That's for all of us because if you watch the movie The Legend, it is the knowledge of good and evil. And what you see is that you're tempted, like Eve was tempted, and she was tempted to touch the unicorn, right? Just like she was
Right.
tempted to eat of the apple, which on all people's iPhones is that spitting out apple. Funny, hey? What a
Right.
metaphor, what an analogy. No accident, no coincidence. And so then, like, she drops the world into darkness, right? And then she has to dance with the devil, right? And then, like, that's when she makes that conscious choice, as we all have to make a conscious choice. You can't serve two masters. So here's the Hopi have the two paths. And so we're here right now to choose which path we want to walk. And one takes you all the way around Prophecy Rock, and the other one's dead end. So we want to make it all the way around Prophecy Rock, which is when we stick the unicorn horn back on the unicorn.
Oh,
That's
wow.
what that movie's all about. So if you even just listen to the song, it's like boom, perfect. It's a theme song for all of us. All of
Love
us.
that.
Yeah.
Excellent. Excellent. Oh, we are
Amazing.
so happy to have you here today, and we really appreciate it. Is there anything else you're doing? I know you're going to school, but are there any classes or any things that you're offering that you want people to know about before we say goodbye? Like anything that how people can get in touch with you?
Basically, I want to do classes and such like this, but I am a student. I'm becoming a teacher. My favorite passion, one of them, is to work with children. So I've been working with children. That's how I got the name Shekinah from the preschool I worked at long, long time ago. Basically, I'm just doing readings. I do healings, readings, and I'm kind of like a life coach, but I call myself an ascension coach. So I'm doing ascension coaching for people, but I'm not doing any official like big, classes or whatever, whatever.
Okay.
Yeah.
Excellent. So they can get a hold of you through Facebook or through your
Pretty
links.
much. Basically, if you just look at my website, I sent it to you all. It's
Yep.
Ascension.aum.ca. So people can just go there and then you just message me and then we can figure out I work also by donation. I'm a single mama. I don't get child support, none of that. But it's like I know everybody has like financial issues with this COVID. So even just don't let money be an issue for people. We all need to raise right now, especially the timeline that I'm being shown from here to, of course, the election is for everybody needs to stop being in negativity because that is creating a negative outcome. So I'm trying very hard to really promote raise your frequency. Stop feeding that wolf of darkness, if you know the Cherokee two wolf
Yes.
story. So we
Yes.
want to really feed that light wolf who provides and protects rather than hunt and haunt. Okay, we don't want to be hunted and we don't want to be haunted by the ghosts, right? Of all of the juju. So in Chinese, they call it the hungry ghosts. Nobody wants to mess with the hungry ghosts. So yeah, we're clearing. It's like a grand exorcism on the planet. So we want to find out how can we help the grand exorcism, right?
Well, I
Absolutely.
think you've been part of that grand exorcism by raising our vibes today. That's what our show's all about, is bringing the light to everybody. So we want to thank you very much. And Teresa, do you have any final words before we close?
No, I just got bunches of more questions. I mean, yeah, no, I think it's exciting that you wrote a book. How much did when you had to write the book? How much of it just came through? Like, did you get to decide about the reggae music or hip hop, or did they tell that to you? I mean, I know that's silly, but that's the kind of
Wow,
stuff
it's
I'm wondering.
hilarious. Sasquatch loves hip hop. I don't
Oh,
know if you've ever. I had this download and I kind of confirmed it with Sumbo, who's in Australia right now. My brother Sumbo. So Sasquatch was showing me how they like to stomp. When there's like bad juju,
oh,
they stomp. And
okay,
it's kind of like when I went to school at Chico University in Northern California, I went to all these parties, and at the I guess politically correct way is to say African American frat parties, they would do stomp dancing. Nothing like stomp dancing. So cool. And then I was thinking, oh, like, because they started showing me their dances, and I'm like, kind of that looks like a mix of stomp dancing slash Aboriginal Australian dance. And then I asked Dumbo, I'm like, hey, who taught the Aboriginals to dance? And he's like, Yowie. Because if you see the Aboriginals, they're stomping, and
yeah,
then they're like, and that's how Sasquatch dances. So they were like, we want to have this, like, they're kind of like that reggae. Like a lot of Sasquatches in my territory here. Like I grow a few marijuana plants. They love my marijuana plants. They love reggae music. They love heart music. Heart centered music. One love, right? One heart. Let's get together.
yeah.
Feel all right. That's Sasquatch. Sasquatch is
I was just
not
thinking that Sasquatch is
totally.
a Bob Marley. Yeah, no.
Yeah, I have Sasquatch in his
I
red
can
top,
just totally
and
see them.
That's
hilarious.
great.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the ones I'm in, my family anyway, we're just like high, happy, healthy, holy people, and all of them just want to move beyond the bad vibes. I'm sorry that like at this point, 2020, right?
Yeah.
2020. So
Uh-huh.
like let's get 2020, right? Yeah,
Yes.
So
emancipate yourselves from mental slavery. I've had Sasquatch
Exactly.
just like go off, and I'm like, wow, you guys know the words.
I love
Awesome.
it.
yeah. So sweet.
Too cool.
Yeah,
This has been fun. I love this.
This
Thank you
has been
so much for coming on and
thank
sharing
you.
all this
222
inspiration.
at my time. 222. So Isis veiled is the
Perfect.
and so
great.
Isis 222, which is Isis veiled, inner sight, inner mysteries, but it's the six, right? 2 times 3 is six. So six we have, I'm going to leave on this six vibration where we're exponentiating love. And the six is the two paths, but it's also the path of the lovers. what corrected the 15, which is 1 and 5 is 6. So long the short, clearing out all that darkness, bringing it all back to love. That's what's just happened.
Yes,
So
absolutely.
cool.
Yeah.
Wow.
Absolutely.
Beautiful. Thank you so much.
So
Thank you.
good. I bless
Thank you.
all your guys' new timelines. We just made a whole new one.
Yes, thank you.
Excellent.
Thank
Excellent.
you.
Much love to
I'm glad.
Shasta.
Mhm.
Thanks for great.
Bye.
She'll be
It'll
here
be
when this
fun.
is on.
Yeah.
Yes.
See you next week, guys.
Bye bye. Namaste.
Aloha.